As Benjamin Franklin once said, those who fail to plan are planning to fail. And when it comes to making marketing videos for your business, failing to plan will probably mean you're wasting time, wasting money, or even worse, going through the effort of making great content and then not even knowing if it's working or not. So in this video, we're looking at 5 steps you can take right now to come up with a video strategy that will save you time, save you money, and help you get results.
When it comes to making videos to promote your business, it's easy to get carried away with the creative side, coming up with ideas about storyboards and cameras and lighting and all of that production stuff. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter how good your video content is if the right people aren't even watching it, and if you're not getting tangible results.
I've heard a lot of clients say that they're not really sure if video is right for their business, or maybe they can see the benefits of video, but they just don't really know where to start yet. So if that sounds like you, don't worry, you're not alone. And here are 5 things you can do right away to get you started on the right track.
Step 1. Set your objectives.
I think it's fair to say that most businesses start making videos because at the end of the day, it's a marketing tactic and they want more sales. And although more sales is an obvious objective to start with, it's also worth remembering that video primarily is about communication. So I think it's worth thinking about all the different areas of your business where you can start to communicate in a more effective and more impactful way using video content.
As a starting point, I like to think about the customer journey, which sounds a bit fluffy, I know, but I think it's a really useful way to visualize which areas you might want to focus on to start with. So for example, are you trying to attract new visitors and turning those into qualified leads? Do you already have leads and want to close sales? And even after that step, could you be using video to improve your customer support?
Alongside that, I also think that most of the videos you'll make will probably fall into one of 5 types. So if you're still stuck for ideas, here is another good place to start.
Number 1 would be thought leadership videos, which could be tied in with the idea of personal brand, as you may want to show yourself as being an expert within your field. And these kinds of videos are generally pretty good for reaching new people and growing your audience. Number 2 would be brand image videos, and this is basically telling people all about your business, what you do, what you stand for, and how it is that your product or service or business helps people. Number 3 would be product or service demonstration videos. So this is basically about showing off the products you sell or the services you offer. It's probably going to feel a bit more like advertising rather than content marketing, which is fine, but obviously won't work everywhere. Number 4, customer support videos. This one is really about improving efficiency in your business while also improving the customer experience. Videos in this category could answer your frequently asked questions, they could show people how to use a product or service, you could even have a video showing customers how to find your premises or where to park, for example. And number 5, less obvious this one, internal communications. And this is probably for larger companies with lots of employees perhaps. And these kinds of videos can be made to keep everybody engaged and help with things like training and company news updates, for example.
So before you start planning that next video, make sure you know exactly what your objectives are for that video and what kind of metrics you might use to measure how well it's performing. And we'll take a deeper look at metrics in step 5.
Step 2, define your audience. And I think there's 2 elements to this. So first of all, you have the traditional idea of creating avatars based on demographics like age, gender, location and so on. And really, I suppose this applies to any kind of marketing that you do. I've certainly heard many marketing professionals talking about the benefits of being able to visualize your audience in great detail, thinking about what they're really like, what do they look like, what do they like to do, where do they work, where do they like to hang out, what kinds of problems do they have. And then secondly, there's the idea of context. And by that, I mean really trying to visualize that person watching your videos and having a think about what that experience might actually look like. So do we think they'll be watching it on a phone or a laptop? Will they be at home or at work? Can they hear the sound, or do you need to add subtitles? Are they in a rush, or are they just killing time on their daily commute? And then we can go back to our concept of the customer journey. So have they heard about your business before? Are they a complete stranger? Have they just found you on YouTube, or are they already on your website? Thinking about the viewer like this helps you to make content that's more likely to have the desired effect, which of course links back to our objectives that we made in step 1. So with that in mind, what call to action might be appropriate for them? Should they subscribe to your channel? Should they call your office for a consultation? Or could they even be ready to click through to your sales page? In this step, you basically need to decide for each video that you make who you're trying to talk to, what you want to say to them, and what you want them to do, feel, or think after watching your video. Step 3. Make a video wish list. So you have some objectives and you've identified who you're targeting. Now it's time to think about some of the types of video that could be a good fit for your business. When you're doing this, I think it's good to forget about how you're actually going to make the videos for now. Just try rattling off as many ideas as you can in 2 or 3 minutes and just see what comes out. There might be some obvious ones in there, such as product demos, explainer videos, or customer testimonials. But remember, it's not always about selling. It's also about providing some value, or even just about starting a conversation with people. What do your audience want to hear about? What might they like to learn about? How could you make them laugh or inspire them? What are they talking about on social media? Are there any popular themes that you can tap into? How about starting a company vlog or shooting behind the scenes with different members of your team? You could even make educational content such as how-to videos and webinars, or even share some clips from an event that you've been to. If you're really stuck for ideas, think about some of the videos you've watched recently. Which ones were useful? Could you make something similar? How about your competition? Are they making videos? Check out some similar companies on YouTube, see what they're up to, and then take those ideas and make them your own. It's really important to record all of your ideas so you can come back to your list in the future for inspiration and to keep adding to it. You might like to scribble everything down as a mind map on paper, but personally I like to keep all of my ideas in an app on my phone because then, well, they don't get lost, and I've usually got my phone with me so I can always jot an idea down if I'm out and about somewhere, or even if I'm laying awake at 3 in the morning. I actually really like the Trello tool, which is a great app for keeping all of your ideas organised, and actually I'll make another video about this to show you how I do that. Once you have a decent list of ideas, you can start to prioritise and think about how to turn those ideas into real content. Step 4. Create a production schedule.
Video production is notoriously time-consuming, complicated and expensive, but it doesn't have to be. In order to produce good quality content on a consistent basis, you just need to have the right systems in place.
To start then, take your video wish list from step 3, prioritise and then decide on a regular schedule for publishing content, and start to plan your content calendar for the weeks and months ahead. Try to be realistic, don't overload yourself too early on. You might even just start with 1 video a month to begin with and then ramp things up a bit once you've got your process in order. The important thing is to have a plan and try to be consistent. Think about how you'll make your videos. Will you need to hire a videographer, or could you film some of the content yourself? Either way, planning ahead helps you to batch similar tasks. For example, instead of shooting 1 video at a time, you could write scripts for 5 or 6 videos and then film them all in one session. Editing can be a bit of a headache for many people, but again, you can cut down editing time dramatically if you can plan your content well, and if you really don't want to get bogged down at this stage, you could even outsource your editing to a freelancer on websites like Upwork or peopleperhour.com. Remember that some of your video content can also be repurposed for different platforms to maximise your return. So you could take short video extracts or even take images and quotes and roll them out to different social media platforms. You could take the audio extracts from each video and make them into podcast episodes. Take your video scripts or transcribe your interviews and turn the text into a blog post. There's really lots of different ways you can squeeze the most out of your content, and there's so many different apps and online services that can help with production these days. There's really never been a better time to get started. Step 5. Promote and measure. Once you start making content, perhaps the most important part of all then is to keep an eye on your results. There's a vast range of metrics out there you might use to do this, the obvious one being viewing figures. You might also look at the duration of views, the drop-off rates, the number of repeat views, conversions, engagement, subscriber numbers. Remember what your objective was in the beginning. Is your video aiming for more sales on a landing page? Is it driving traffic to your website from social media? Perhaps you're just asking for comments or likes on a Facebook page or on LinkedIn. And as one of my mentors once told me, everything is a test. So don't worry, not every video will hit the mark. It's a case of trying ideas out, seeing what works and what doesn't, and then adjusting as you go. Generally, I like to think of videos as being like long-term assets for your business, because really, there's always that potential for them to keep paying you back in years to come without doing any extra work. Remember that YouTube is the world's second biggest search engine, so every piece of valuable content you put up there is potentially another doorway into your business. Promotional videos on your website are like virtual salespeople, helping to sell your product 24 hours a day, locally or internationally, even when you're asleep. FAQ videos and product tutorials can be supporting customer inquiries without needing to answer a phone call. If used correctly, your videos can be like an extension of your team that helps your business to function and grow. But then, just like other team members, they should all have their job to do. And if they do their job well, then for me, the benefits could far outweigh the initial cost of making them.
So there you have it, 5 steps to creating a video strategy for your business. Here's a quick summary.
Step 1. Set your objectives. Number 2. Define your audience. Step 3. Make a video wish list. Step 4. Create a production schedule. And step 5, promote and measure.
So I hope you found that useful. I'm planning to cover some of these ideas in a bit more detail in other videos, so keep an eye out for those. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe for more content, and feel free to share this video if you know someone who might find it useful. Thanks for watching then, and I'll see you next time.